Hi everybody, very welcome to yet another live stream here on the Mentour Aviation channel. I hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. As always guys, I try to do these live streams on Sundays. Tomorrow unfortunately I have to get up quite early because I have to go to Milan, Bergamo in the morning because I'm doing my own recurrent check. And tomorrow is my LPC, so the license proficiency check, which means that I'm going to be renewing my license, my rating for hopefully another year. And it's going to take me a little bit of study time. I've been doing my exams, my recurrent exams that I need to do today. Those are the theoretical exams that just they check both the standard operating procedure knowledge and the technical knowledge. And tomorrow I'll be traveling over, and then early in the morning on Tuesday I have my training session. On Wednesday I have my exam, and then on Thursday I'm actually conducting an LPC myself as an examiner. So busy week ahead, and that's why I'm doing this live stream a little bit earlier than I normally do, and I hope that's okay for everyone. As always guys, if you have questions that you want to ask, then you can use the normal chat that I see a lot of people are doing, or if you have something that you really want me to answer, as in you have something that you just cannot wait with, well in that case you can use the super chat that will support the channel with the money that you choose to put in, and I will be answering all of those questions. Now, normally guys, what I tend to do is I have my live streams in the Mentour Aviation app now for a couple of reasons, both because I'm trying to build the usage of the app and also because it's a little bit smaller, like it's less people watching, which means that it's easier for me to answer everyone's questions. So if you guys haven't already, you should definitely download the app. You have links to download it here in the description of the video. They are in the description of every single one of my videos, and it's completely free to do. And I have some announcements to make, right? From the beginning of the week, hopefully tomorrow we can start the beta testing, but probably in the middle of the week or so, I am going to release the new news section in the Mentour Aviation app, right? It's going to be awesome. So instead of having these push notifications about news that you're getting from the app all the time, what I'm going to do is we're going to put a specific page, and the page will look like this. So to the left here, you can see the overview of the articles that we're going to put out, and Sam and all of the other administrators are going to help me to put news out from whatever happens in the aviation world. So this is where you should go, kind of a one-stop shop for all your aviation news. And then if you want to go in and look at a specific article, you'll be able to do that with pictures and with the full article. And then there will be a link to whatever newspaper it is that is releasing the news. So you click that, that's going to take you to that news article. In most cases, that's going to be to mentorpilot.com/news, because I am now producing a lot of news on my website. I hope you've checked that out. But this is a new function that will be coming during the week, and I'm really excited about that, guys. So if you haven't already, download the app. Once again, this feature is completely free, so you can go in there, check every day if something has happened in the aviation world, and I think that you are going to love it. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. Right. So people are saying here that they haven't received the email for funding. That happens, all right? It can be because you signed up after we sent out the first news email. We're not going to send it out again, so you're just going to have to wait for the next email to come. You can go to mentorpilot.com, all right? There is, if you just scroll down there, you'll find an article about the funding, and that will show you the newsletter in PDF format, all right? So on mentorpilot.com, you will be able to read the newsletter. There's nothing in there to tell you to do something now. It's just information at the moment. But in the next couple of newsletters or in the next couple of updates, there will be stuff that you guys need to do. So make sure that you have, if you haven't received the newsletter, but you did sign up before last week, well then go through the trash, go through your spam folder, go through there's different folders for like promotions and things like that. Look through it and mark it up as non-spam, all right? Because it is really important. And if you haven't signed up yet, here in the description of the video, you have the link to just sign yourself up to the newsletter, and you'll be part of the journey. So we have our first super chat question here. Thank you very much to Max Witt. Hi Mentor, runways and taxiways with slopes, how do you deal with them? Hope you're doing great. Yeah, so the slope is part of the performance calculation that we do. So when we have our electronic operational performance tool, the OPT that we're using, it will know what the slope is, and that when we punch in all of the other parameters like outside air temperature, wind, runway state, QNH, things like that, it will also take into consideration runway slope if it is something that is to consider. Normally they're quite flat, the runways, but when they have slopes it will be taken into account, and it's fortunately the computer that does it for us. Otherwise, if we would have to do that manually, we would have to go in and use the particular graphs for that runway to do the performance, right? But even in our paper graphs, the performance that we get has already taken the slope into account, so it doesn't really matter. But from a taxiway, from an actual operational point of view, it can be a little bit more tricky. If it's a lot of upslope or downslope, we're going to need more thrust, obviously, to get up above the hill. That means that we have to maybe, take a little bit of distance to the aircraft ahead of us when we're taxiing, because we might get a little too much jet wash otherwise. So there are operational restrictions that we have to take into account when that happens. Great question, by the way. Beach Geek, next on the Super Chat questions. Thank you. Thanks for new feature. Great community in the app. Yeah, it is a fantastic community. I am so psyched about the app, right? It's just getting better and better, and I know that this news feature is something that we've been desperately needing for a while, because just going in and clicking the push notification video and reading the description is a little bit so and so. But this now is going to be a fully fledged, nice news section with pictures, with up-to-date communication from us and from all of the aviation community around the world, really. So make sure that you have it, and I will be telling you, as the testing progresses. I'm hoping to get the first beta test version tomorrow morning, and then if that works, we will very, very soon launch it. So probably in the beginning of the week. So make sure that you're part of that. So Isaac Hansson, thank you, Isaac, for your support. Have you seen the new Microsoft Flight Simulator, and what's your thought on it? Oh, it is looking awesome. As in, my oldest son, Lucas, who has his own channel, Luca Dicrus, if you haven't checked it out, he is so excited that he can't wait. He does, he spends maybe half an hour every day looking for new updated promos for Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. He just, he cannot wait. And actually, from what I've seen, it looks absolutely amazing. I hope that it can be used or played on a normal computer though, because the graphics that I've seen are unbelievable. It's up to and around, if not even better, than what we have in our level D simulators. So if they can keep that up, if it's going to look the way that the promos look, well, then I think any aviation geek out there needs to have that simulator. And I just hope that they keep an open source so that other developers can come in, and that we can use, the different sim communities can take part of it and rig up with all of the ATC simulators and stuff that are available, so that we can make it as cool as all of the other flight simulator programs and communities out there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see it, and I'm probably gonna, I'm not gonna be doing flight sim reviews and stuff here on the Mentour Pilot channel, because that's not what this channel is about. However, Lucas has a channel for that, right? And he's my son, so it's likely that when we get our hands on it, we'll probably make a review. I will probably make a review together with him, and we're gonna upload it to his channel. So make sure you've subscribed to that. Dominic Oravec, hello, thank you for your great videos. Well, thank you. Last time I saw that the pilot on short haul didn't make walk around. Is this possible? Or maybe I wasn't focused enough. Yeah, it's not possible. Because it is one of those things that we have to do by law. All right. So if a walk around was omitted, then that's a serious breach, and it's something that you would fail your line check for if you would miss it. So you can be sure that someone did it, maybe before you boarded or something like that. So it was done by the pilot monitoring, or if they had a safety pilot on board, maybe the safety pilot did it. They can be done by an engineer as well. So that could have been a possibility as well. Next, Pilot 1. Alright, so you sent a super chat which has been eliminated by one of the administrators here. So guessing that was something that wasn't appropriate, please stay positive, constructive on the channel, all right? It's not like this is what this channel is all about. Anyone is supposed to be able to ask any questions, but you have to stay civilized. If you're not, then the admins here, they are going to be removing your message and I won't see it, which is a shame, especially when you paid for it. Okay, M. Roteville. Microsoft is launching Flight Simulator 2020 soon. Will you give us a flying with the 747 step-by-step course? Would be willing to pay for this. The 747 I'm not rated on, so it will be hard for me to do that. But maybe I can get 74 gear to come in and do it with me. That would be really cool. Otherwise, I would love to get my hands on a real 747 simulator and maybe have him or someone else show me the ropes around. That would be really cool. Right, so Elias E, for some reason I can't see your super chat question here. I don't know why that is actually. I just see part of it. Let's see, I'm gonna try to move stuff away here so I can see it. So you just started to work as a pilot. I have flown Airbus 350 on Finnair for 8 months. Would like to get some advice from you in general. Right, first of all, Elias, that is awesome. The Airbus 350 is an aircraft that I would like to fly, so I'm hoping that you're enjoying it. For private advice, I don't do that generally. Yeah, there's just too much people out there. I would be spending my whole days on Skype if I did that. What I have said though is that my Patreon crew, the people that are helping me out on Patreon, if they're on the $10 or more per month level, then they can schedule a Skype call with me when it suits us both, especially if there are if you need advice or something career wise, then we can do that. But I promised my wife to not be doing those kind of like private consultations outside of the Patreon crew, because it becomes overwhelming, which I'm hoping that people will understand. But once again, congratulations. I hope you're enjoying it, and Finnair is a fantastic company from what I've heard. Balai Sharat Kumar, good to have you here. Thank you for supporting. It says news. I think the flap not configured for takeoff. Are you referring to the Dornier 228 that crashed in Congo earlier on today? I haven't received any more information about what the reason behind that crash was. We have put an article out on mentorpilot.com/news. If you haven't checked about it, if you haven't heard about it, then you can go out and you can check it there. It was pushed out in the Mentour Aviation app, of course, as well. But that's about it. That's I'm not willing to speculate on the reason for the crash yet, but it did crash as part of the takeoff. And of course, things like performance, flaps and stuff is always potential culprits when those kind of things happens. Thomas Pispanen, thank you for your support. I see that your question didn't come through. Then if you have the app, just go to support feedback in the app and send me a question there. That will send an email directly to me, and I can answer it. Just label it super chat so I know what it's about. Sam Petros, I can't see what your question is, but thank you very much for your support. It's always greatly appreciated. So let's go up and answer some of the questions in the normal chat here as well. Any news on the Dornier 228 crash? No, we're still waiting for that. When we do get some update on it, then we will probably launch it as an article in mentorpilot.com. But one thing that I highly recommend you guys to do, if you want to keep on top of that, is go to avherald.com. avherald.com. It's stands for Aviation Herald. It's a fantastic website when it comes to getting technical, non-biased, no bullshit updates about incidents and accidents, all right? So, if you keep up to date with that site, they will, anytime that the regulators comes out with something, anytime that an accident investigation team come out with information, it will be on avherald.com, right? It may be not, as quick as some of the other media, but it will be accurate. So check that site out. I highly recommend it. So, will Boeing ever make a tremendous comeback sometime soon? Well, it's hard to make a tremendous comeback, right? They don't have any new aircraft in the pipeline. What they have to do is making sure that the MAX comes back flying again. That, I think, is prior one. And then they need to make sure that the 777X gets flying and works properly, and that all the engines, the 9X engine is working properly. There's a lot of things that Boeing is a little bit behind on, but you can be sure that they're working hard and that Boeing will be coming back soon. I mean, it's a great company. It has a great, well, it did have a great culture, but they're probably working on the culture as we're speaking right now. So I am, I keep my fingers crossed that everything will work out and that they will come back to the kind of greatness that they were known for before these horrible crashes happened. ¿Cuándo haces uno en español? Bueno, tengo dudas, No voy a hablar en español mucho porque mi español es suficiente para sobrevivir, pero ya está, nada más. Right. More questions. I'll see that for some reason my it has, there we go, it's bugging out here. I'll see if there's any more super chat questions here to make sure that I am up to that. The thumbs up for the upcoming news feature for San Petros. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And Sam is the one that's keeping up the news feed in the forums. If you go into the app and you check out the forums, he's the one that's keeping that up to date. So Sam will have a huge role to play in the new news feature as well. And I'm hoping that you're up for it, Sam, because I think a lot of people will be using this app to get their news feed, and it's up to us to make it brilliant. So, what from Tesla guy? What do you see with the future of aircraft propulsion, like short-haul regional aircraft, pure electric, long-haul airlines by hydrogen? I hope that we were going to start to see a little bit more electric flights. First of all, it will probably come from the smaller aircraft first. So the smaller aircraft are likely to become electric, as in fully electric. They are already to a certain extent today. And then we will probably see some kind of hybrid coming in on short to medium haul to, the local short haul carriers might have something that helps during takeoff, for example. It's hard to see that we can get away from jet fuel in the foreseeable future, for the simple reason that jet fuel works in a huge temperature range, and that's a problem that you will have with the likes of hydrogen, for example, or hydrogen is hard to store as well. But it's hard to have a fuel that works in both plus 40 to minus 60 degrees and delivers the same kind of energy content. But I'm sure that we will start to see some kind of hybrid engines coming out, and then who knows? It has to change, it has to come. So hopefully very smart people are working on it. So Ginger Biscuits is here as well. Great to see you here. Ginger Biscuits is very active in the app, so it's great to see you as part of this chat as well. So, is membership in the APC paid? How much does it cost? Well, APC, the Airline Pilot Club, which is our new funding initiative, will be paid to a certain extent. All right, and that's just because we need to do the day-to-day work on it. We need to keep track of you. We need to help you guys with your suitability tests, these kind of things, feedback. We need to keep office personnel and stuff. So yes, it will be paid. We have not yet decided on how much it will cost, but it will be very affordable. All right, it's going to be a tiny sum per year. That's it. So we're not going to try to get money from you guys. We are going to try to get money from other sources for this. But all of that information, how much it will cost you to join, how to join, where geographically we are going to start, all of this thing is going to come out as per newsletter. And you can expect more news around Christmas, and we are aiming to start this towards the beginning mid part of the first half year of 2020. So somewhere around there. So make sure that you have signed up. All right, make sure you have signed up to it. If you are in need of funding for your flight training, this is going to be the place to go, unless you can find a government-sponsored program or an airline-sponsored program, obviously. Because we won't, like I've said before, I will not be able to do magic. This will cost money, but you will get access to it, which is my primary goal, to make sure that people like you who will be great pilots, who will do a fantastic job as pilot, can get the access to the money to do it. Right, let's see. See if there's any more super chat questions coming up. It doesn't seem like that it's the case. So we'll continue to take questions from normal chat here. Question, what amount of thrust do you use when taxiing? And does it differ from taxiing to the runway or from the runway? It's a great question. What we try to do depends a little bit, like we were starting to talk about the slope of the taxiways. But if it's on completely even ground, we tend to start between 30 to 40% N1. So just 34, 35 should be sufficient to start moving. Keep there until we get the speed that we want. Then we shop the thrust, keep the momentum going, and when we see that it's starting to slow down, or as we're approaching, for example, a turn, we add on a bit of thrust. But you tend to sit between 30 and 40% in order to keep the speed. 40% will give you an acceleration. 30%, 25 to 30% will keep you kind of just rolling down the taxiway. And it's the same after landing. When we taxi in, we use the same kind of percentage. So, Dominic Oravec, again, do the low-cost airlines take a lot of fuel when they start, or refuel only what is needed on stops? What is the minimum fuel reserve for flight? I've done a video on this, so check that out after this, okay? But generally, what the low-cost airlines and what all airlines do is they take the minimum legal, all right? Which is more than enough. If you're flying on a good weather day where there's no expected delays or there's nothing special that you're expecting to happen, or there's no bad weather, thunderstorms, fog, or anything where you're going, well, then we take the minimum. And the minimum is a flight to your destination. It is a flight from your destinations to an alternate, and then it is holding for 30 minutes, which is the minimum the minimum reserve fuel. It's over 30 minutes of holding, and there's also another about 5% of fuel, which is a contingency fuel for en route kind of diversions around CBs and stuff. But so that means that going towards your destination, you will have fuel to go there, to divert, and then to stay around for a bit. And also that continuous fuel very rarely is used, and we also save fuel on most flights. But this is really important. If we want to, we take as much fuel as we need. So if we see that there's anticipated delays, for example, or there are thunderstorms in the area, or there are fog patches, or whatever it is, then we take as much fuel as we want so that we can hold, if we want to, before we divert. And also, obviously, we need to make sure that we have the minimum required weather at our destination and at our alternate. And the alternate weather needs to be better than at our destination to give us an extra security kind of blanket, all right? So there's loads and loads of rules that are connected to this. So when you hear someone saying that, well, they took minimum fuel, it means that they took the minimum legal, which is the fuel they should take, right? If they take more than that, it means that they're now carrying a lot more weight, which is pushing more fuel, which is bad for the environment, bad for the economy, bad for everything. So the only time that we take more fuel, and this goes both for low cost airlines and then go for the legacy carriers out there, the time you take more fuel, there needs to be a reason for it. All right, you need to understand that there's a difference between. I think people, when they hear minimum fuel, they think like just enough to get there, but that's not the case. Okay, that's not the case. Cool. What do you think about flight simulators? Yeah, I think they're cool. I think they're a cool pastime if you're talking about these desktop simulators and stuff. I've done a video on that as well. Whether or not it's going to help you to become a pilot, and check that out. It's quite old now. I might do a remake of that video soon. Let's see. Hi sir, regarding the eligibility criteria for funding, will the percentage grade requirements be a part of the DGCA for India, or a bit more strict? We haven't decided on if we are going to even talk about what kind of like school criteria we have to put into this. It is likely that we are going to look at the airlines that we are also contacting as part of this initiative, and if they have a minimum school grades, for example, or criteria, well, then that's probably going to be applied as well, because otherwise it wouldn't make any sense. But we haven't decided on this, so I can't answer any questions on that yet. So, to the question, has piloting changed from pilot's perspective since 9/11? Yeah, well, it's become a little bit more boring. Like all of these security measures that comes in, I love the fact that before then you could get people into the cockpit, like not anyone, but you could take kids that are interested in flying. You could check them out, and if they looked okay, you can take them in the cockpit and stuff. I love that. I used to do that myself when I was a little kid. The fact that we cannot do that anymore is really, really, it's pity. And also, it has created a little bit of a communication barrier between the pilots and the cabin crew, because now there is a barrier, a physical barrier between us, so you can't just easily get them in and talk to them. You need to go through all sorts of different procedures to do that. But piloting has not changed much at all. Sorry, I have Patchy here. He's feeling neglected. He wants to be part of this as well. Adam Latham, thank you very much for your support. So, what do you think about Cirrus Vision Autoland from Thomas Pilspanen? Great. I did a video on that. I hope that you've seen it on the channel. I released it just a few weeks back. I think it's a great security initiative for single pilot aircraft. I think it has been needed, because that has always been the problem with the single pilot aircraft, that if the pilot dies, now what? You're gonna have some really, really scared passenger, or potentially no one to bring the aircraft down. So this system is, first of all, it's a fantastic technical achievement. Like, I'm really, really impressed of what Garmin has managed to do with that. But I think it's it was needed, and I hope it works, and I'm sure it's going to save lives at one point or another. So, and also I think that the Vision Jet is really, really cool. Dear Santa, I want a Vision Jet. I hope he hears that. I've been very, very good this year. At least I hope so. So, is it Patchy in the background? Yeah, it was Patchy in the background. He's been very, very sad because Molly is in heat, so she cannot be here because he goes crazy and pees everywhere and tries to make little babies. So he's alone, and he's not a happy puppy when he's alone. He misses his pack. Oh, right. So, what's the difference between ATPL and MPL? Yeah, they're two different things. ATPL is the air transport pilot license, which is what you need in order to be a captain. It's the highest form of license. MPL is multi-pilot license, which is different from CPL, which is commercial pilot license, just in the form that the training has been completed. Go in and check my my licenses series. I have a playlist called Pilot Licenses, where I explain every single license that is out there. It's a little bit dated now. It's a lot of this, talking head video with very little graphs and graphics, but it's still current, and it's still relevant. So go and check out that after this. Cool. Patrick Jimenez. Hello, Peter. Well, hi to you, Patrick. I hope you're doing absolutely fantastic as well. So, I'm so socially awkward. That's the name. What is the ice on the wing after landing? Great question. That's called non-environmental ice. It's called cold soaked fuel frost, CSFF. That's when we land, we are still going to have, like I explained before, we're still going to have quite a lot of fuel, sometimes up to about 3 or 4 tons in the 737. Now, that fuel, since that's been up on altitude and we're flying for a while, it's going to be really cold, sometimes minus 20 degrees. And when we land, that will form, first it's going to form water on top of the wings, and then if it's really cold fuel that's touching the wing surface, well, then that's going to turn into ice and frost. And we have certain criteria for whether or not we can take off with that little frost in certain parts of the wing, inside of those black boxes that I'm sure you've seen on 737 wings, which we can sometimes, and sometimes we just have to take it away. Okay, see if there's any. What is the longest What is the longest a pilot can fly at? So we fly not according to how far we fly based on time. And if we fly only one sector or 2 sectors, we can fly up to 13 hours. And then another 2 hours with pilot discretion in case something on schedule would happen. So 13 hours is what we can fly unaided. If we need to fly longer than that, well, then there needs to be supplement pilots on board, so that we can go and have rest, for example. The other pilot can come in during cruise, and then we will swap back again at some point. So that gives you a little bit of an idea on how far that we can fly maximum. Yes. All right, guys, I won't be able to do the full hour. The half hour will be what I can do today because, yeah, it's I have my kids. I need to go and feed them some food at some point. So, Jordan Coles is asking in the super chat: are there any airports in Europe with side-by-side landings like LAX? Could we see this at Heathrow when it gets its third runway in the year 2045? Yeah, and I also think that you have it on Amsterdam, even though those runways are not completely parallel as far as I know. Not sure if you see it in Frankfurt. I don't think so, but yeah, I think in Amsterdam is probably your best bet to see that in Europe. But yeah, sure. If they build it the way that I think that they will build it in Heathrow, then they should be able to have 2 landing or 2 taking off runways depending on time of day. So I'm sure that we'll get to see that at some point anyway. David R, do commercial flights need a squawk if they have a flight number? Yeah, well, basically any flight needs a squawk. Sometimes you can use a general squawk, like 7000 for VFR flights, for example. But if you're on a flight plan, if you have a flight number, if you're on a repetitive flight plan like we do in commercial aircraft, then you will always have a specific squawk code that will be given to you by air traffic control when you get your clearance. How is the winter in Barcelona? From Balai. It's cold. We have quite a lot of snow up in the mountains now already. It's like 10-15 degrees during the day and -2 during the night, so it can get quite cold here and quite rainy actually. This is part of the reason I love this place, because it actually has seasons, you know. It's not summer all year round. It's a great place to live, and I thoroughly enjoy it. So, are you going to constantly spam your Patreon like in your videos? I'm not spamming anyone. Maybe I'm spamming the app users with news. That could be considered spam, but no, I'm not spamming. That's not what I do. What is your favorite approach to do, and what would be your dream aircraft to be a captain on? Favorite approaches to do? I love doing visual approaches when the weather is good. Non-precision approaches are fun for different reasons. Same with circling, which are quite, challenging to do. But, you will come to notice when you get into this occupation after a while that whatever is easiest, as in what makes your day easy and less risky and stuff, is probably going to be your favorite. So ILS approaches, which you can disconnect when you feel like in good weather, is going to end up being your favorite approach. Favorite or dream? I'm just gonna leave Patchy out here. Patchy. There you go. So, favorite aircraft to be a captain on? I don't know. Whatever aircraft that gives me the lifestyle I want to have, really. I love the look of the Airbus 350. I would love to get my hands on one of those and try it out. Otherwise, a 787 wouldn't be bad. And, if I could fly the 747 before it disappears, that would be cool as well. So, David R is asking, my question was, why do they need both a squawk and a flight number? Because the flight number is normally a company thing. It's like they have decided that the flight number has a specific thing. That could be the same flight number on, for example, Ryanair or EasyJet. It's just going to be a slightly different precursor to it. But the squawk is individual for that aircraft, for that particular flight, right? The squawk has to do with the secondary radar system that air traffic control is using to keep track of us. So you can't have a 232, Ryanair 2325 and an EasyJet 2325, for example. It doesn't work. Therefore, they're completely different from each other, right? They have nothing to do with each other. So, can you please do a video on non-visual approach? On non-visual approach. Would love to watch it. Not sure what you mean by non-visual approach though. Like, everything is a non-visual approach. ILS, non-precision, we do them as instrument approaches. So, they're not visual. Grant Rennie, thank you for your support. How did you start? I started, well, this is a long story, but to keep it short, I became interested in this when I was 14 years old. My dad had a PPL, so I went out flying with him, and they gave me a test lesson, and after that test lesson I was hooked. So I managed to get into a government sponsored program in Sweden when I was 17, 18, and from there I just went on. I went straight into, I did my military service for a year, and then I did the backup, the last bit, which was the MCC course and the multi-engine course. And from there on, I went straight into an airline. I was really lucky to find a job because it was just after September 11th. So the industry was going downhill fast. But I managed to get into the airline, which I am in now. So I've been flying for the same airline for 17 years now, which is kind of cool. David R., you mentioned in your last video that the wheels need to feel that they're on the ground in order for the window exits to open. How do they open in water? No, what I said was that all of those three criteria that I put up in the video needs to be fulfilled. If one of those criteria is not, then the locks open. So that means, for example, if you shut both engines off, they automatically open. Or if the, what else? That's the engines or the thrust lever position, it's the weight on wheel switches, and it's the exit doors. So if the exit doors forth and back open as well, that automatically clicks open the locks in the overwings as well. So all of those criteria needs to be there in order for the locks to engage, right? And guys, by the way, I hope that you have checked out my latest video, right? Unfortunately, I asked the question, can you open the doors in flight? And I realized later on that 74 Gear had made a similar video a while back, so I should have just said something else. But it's really interesting, guys. It's a lot about how the doors function, why they look like they do, how they're locked and not locked, and stuff like that. So make sure that you've checked it out. Guys, let's see. There's more. I think I missed a super chat here. Question here. Yes, from Dominic again. Did you hear any doubts from pilots about returning back to Boeing Max cockpit, or is it not a big topic between pilots? I can't wait until they return back. Yeah, there's been discussions between pilots whether or not they're safe, and those questions will probably continue to come for a while. I think Boeing is going to need to do a proper kind of charm offensive for the next couple of months after they have released it. So, it's far from over this. This has kind of shaken the confidence in the aircraft quite a bit, and it's going to take a while to rebuild that even among pilots. So that's a great question, actually. And Grant Rennie is saying, have a great night, everybody. Indeed. So, guys, unless there's anyone else who has any super chat, I'm a Patreon and app subscriber. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Burst of a slide inside the plane suddenly from Balai. No, that shouldn't happen. It can happen that a slide could inadvertently burst inside. That tends to happen if someone kind of partially open doors and then close it again with the slides armed. Then it could potentially start expanding and into the cabin. It has happened. It's very, very rare. And that's also why if you do inadvertently open with the slide arm, just open it fully so that it goes out. Do not try to close it again. And that's it. Guys, by the way, before I go, I hope that you have had a chance to download the Mentour Aviation app. Once again, it's free. You have the links down here. Now, this is unfortunately the old version of the app, so now it has much better colors in it, but it kind of shows what you can expect inside of the app. So if you want to, you can get one of the collections that I have. And in the collections, I do everything from, showing you how to set up a 737 from dark until it's ready to taxi, engine failures. I show you how to deal with an evacuation, a rejected takeoff and evacuation, for example. And I do that in 360 format. So you can, take the app, you can scroll around. It will be just like if you're sitting on the jump seat and listen to what I say, what my first officers say, how we do things. The reason I did it in 360 was so that you can look all over and see everything in 360. It's really, really cool. And those are for sale. So if you want to support the app development, that's what you do. Or you can become a premium member. And if you become a premium member, you will be able to ask questions during live streams. You will see other users' CVs. And you'll also get access to special videos that I do that maybe are not fit for the YouTube channel, but I still want to show them to someone. In that case, I put it up as a special content for premium users in the Mentour Aviation app. So have a look at that. I saw there was some last super chat questions here that I want to take before we go. The other day in Ciampino, I saw Ryanair flight 737 that went around and went directly to... I can't read the whole question. That's really irritating. Wait, I'm going to go up and see if I can find it in the normal chat here. Right. The other day in Ciampino, I saw Ryanair flight 737 that went around and went directly to an alternate without trying another approach. Why was that? Yeah, well, that could be because they went around because of weather and they hadn't taken more fuel for holding. And in that case, if they've tried once and they go around because of weather, they're not going to spend any more fuel trying another time. They're just going to go directly to the alternate. It might also be because something happened. So maybe in Ciampino, there was an incident or whatever, and they didn't take an extra fuel to kind of hang around to see if they could open the runway again. In that case, they would divert as well directly. So those tend to be the reasons for doing that. Okay, so Oriol. Martinez Sonier, hi Mentor, greetings from Barcelona. Well, greetings from Girona. We're almost next door here. Can wing flaps actually move down below the wing to gain more lift? Always wondered. Yeah, the wing flaps, they do extend and go down. So they do kind of change the shape of the wing. That's what they do. That's how they create the extra lift. I don't know if that's what you meant, but they can do that definitely. Cool, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, I'm gonna head over to the Mentour Aviation app chat now. I'm in there from time to time during all days, and you can always just write @mentor in the chat and that will send me a push notification. Come in there and make sure that you have the app downloaded for the new news feature. Like I said, I think that it's going to be really, really cool. And yeah, once again, this is how it's going to look. There will be a slightly different icon than the one that you can see in the news there. But that's the idea anyway. And yeah, I think it's going to be awesome. Really looking forward to it. Have an absolutely fantastic day wherever you are. And well, I'll see you inside of the app. Bye-bye.